Hello, and we greet you and bid you a good evening. How are you all doing? Yes, and we are also very excited, very pleased to interact with you today, this moment of your time. We speak on behalf of all of your guides, your connections in other dimensions, who are part of this galactic alliance here to support you in your evolution. And we, as a Pleiadian Council, have a great love for you and a great desire to support you in your growth now at this time. Today, we come to support you with any of the concerns and questions that you may have. So let us first begin a bit by discussing the idea of your future, if you would like to have a clearer vision of what is to come, as that is something that many of you ask us about. Now, things are expanding in your reality, and you are moving through a period of time in which you are moving through this photon belt of highly charged energies that is causing things to manifest much quicker than they once have. And you have been in this process for many years at this point, so it is only increasing. And your world is changing. So you are being called to gather because you as souls are awakening to the higher call for unity, and you are realizing that you are all one. You are a part of the bigger evolution of life within the galaxy and the multiverse. This is beaconing a call for beings like ourselves to come and meet you. And all of you have the innate connection to many beings, not just of an extraterrestrial nature, but here on your Earth plane, who can be allies for you in this time. When you are at a certain point in your evolution, you may find that there are certain hybrid children that will begin to arrive on your ships. Basically, you have called out to extraterrestrial life to return to your planet in a sort of a roundabout way, as when nuclear power began to be used in destructive ways on your planet, it sort of set off a signal for the quarantine your planet was put under to be revoked, and for extraterrestrial life once again to begin to intervene within your planetary sphere. And this has been occurring and is occurring now. Now, you have been a part of a program that has contributed genetic material to the creation of hybrid races. And these races are present in their realities and watching you, contributing, and oftentimes still having telepathic interactions and still receiving your spiritual body upon their ships for certain procedures, or your astral body if you use that term. Now, this hybridization program is designed for you all to evolve much quicker, and as well, it supports you in uniting with the Galactic Alliance much quicker. However, there seems to be a great deal of resistance on your planet, as you see, and that is the challenge that you will all be facing in the times to come, is how to manage and how to navigate when your world seems to be in many ways falling apart. Really, this process is necessary, and many of the crises that you are experiencing at an environmental level and at a social and political level will continue. What is important is to realize that your prayer for the earth is received, though it requires your action as well. And the actions that you do that are based in love and passion are your contribution to this project. The sorts of paths and avenues of healing and of reforestation, both metaphorically and literally are key in bringing about the change that you need to experience in your world. And those other humans who are deeply engaged in their own separation-based, ego-based consciousness are representative of a different version of your earth plane entirely. Now, some of you have been at the other talk we shared the other day about the evolution of humans through the Anunnaki coming to arrive and mixing their genetic material with that of the Sasquatch being. And we have said that the Sasquatch being does exist in a parallel reality version of your Earth. Now, this means that there are many planes to your Earth realm that you do not always match to. Your vibration is shifting, and the vibration of those realms of your Earth is an entirely different frequency. There are even some realms of your Earth that are subterranean. They are both subterranean and in a different dimension, though your present time reality, you all as a group have linked in with a planetary sphere that is intelligent and is alive and has chosen to be in this fifth dimensional service-based perspective. And that is most certainly the reality that you will create as you stay centered in your own heart and stay focused within the communities that are choosing that creation. You can notice that those who are choosing the parallel reality version of Earth will continue to experience even greater turmoil, and watching that from afar will be a challenge. Yet it will also allow you to realize the power that you have to transmute energies from afar that you do not have the power otherwise to really step into. Yet the biggest change will occur when extraterrestrial life begins to land on your planet. And this, of course, can only actualize after you have sort of entrained to our level of vibration. Now, the first steps of this can occur in dreams, in trance, in your healing work, and as you work, as we know you do, with plants. By meeting these extraterrestrial beings and receiving our energy, you will, over time, adjust to this vibration. And by knowing your guides in those realms, eventually, yes, these hybrid children will be able to stabilize and land on your planet. Now, when we say that these are part human and part extraterrestrial, we mean that they are entirely human. It is only that you have come to think of extraterrestrials as not being human. When the extraterrestrial group you know to be the Greys were mutated humans from another parallel reality version of Earth that over time became so focused on their ideas of technological advancement, their ideas of what would be the most productive output of their society, their continual quest for the precise knowledge, the precise technology, did bring them to mutate to the point that they could no longer reproduce. They became a very emotionless creature, and they needed to find a viable source of DNA compatible with theirs to create new life. This search brought them to your planet, where they created the first hybrids that were also what you would call Greys, though they demonstrated the first signs of a return to compassion and understanding. And over time, these beings would splice their genetics with the genetics of humans to create more and more races. Now, the last of these races you may call the Yahyel, and they are just like humans in their appearance, though you may notice that they have a lighter feeling energy. And they have also surpassed certain needs that you have, such as verbal communication. While they are capable of it, they are also capable of telepathic communication and use quite advanced technologies. As they come to contact the parts of your planet that have already united, there will be a sudden surge of light that allows for a global uniting. And we do wish you to believe that your contributions to this will be received. This is why we always tell you to follow your greatest love, follow your highest excitement, as it is not some complex undertaking that you can really understand in the same way that you have been trained to learn. It is more so that your role is understood as a vibrational resonance. When you truly and fully come into your own heart center and choose to act upon the guidance that you are already receiving, all of the components will work out. And you have created a system in your world that is destructive because you have disconnected from the heart. What you will come to learn on your own, and eventually later with our assistance in more pronounced ways, though of course now you are not learning it on your own, it will simply be a bit different when your mentors arrive in their ships, we could say. Now, you have all that you need innately within you. All of the tools to make a sustainable world can be accessed inside your own consciousness. Of course, you take the actions. What we are simply saying is that the heart knowing that you have come to disown will be your salvation. You will find that when all of you can entrain into that rhythm, you will find great gifts that were once hidden suddenly reigniting. You will find that as everyone plays the role that their heart guides them to play, the whole orchestra comes into a sort of serendipitous synchronization that allows you to experience harmony, joy, peace, and ease in your reality. So, you may also wonder what is occurring with certain things, such as your sea levels rising, and, well, most certainly you will lose portions of your land, and we say to you, do not fear the destruction. Know, first of all, that your intuition will alert you to natural changes. And you, as you are the ones grounding into your earth by using your connection to the plant realm and the elemental realms, will find that the earth signals you when there are certain changes and challenges that you would need to avoid or abandon certain areas that will be underwater eventually. You will get that guidance, but we are saying it will happen. Many species are leaving your planet now, and this will also continue, though you can rest assured that species themselves can inhabit the higher dimensional potential of the Earth plane, which is not just one version of Earth, as you may have been getting from what we have been saying. There are many versions of your Earth, and through shifting into these higher dimensional perspectives, collective groups, cultures, you could say, and individuals all have that power to shift through these different versions of Earth. And that is exactly what you are doing right now. Now, many species are exiting this version of your Earth because they are witnessing the destructive potential, and their departure is signaling the alarm call for many to become a part of the force of unification. When your planet does reunite, some of these species will return to your planet, and actually, you are noting that this is already occurring to some degree. So when you see what is occurring out there, we are saying, yes, the alarm that you are feeling is good because that is part of what ignites your own passion, what you see that challenges you and challenges your brothers and sisters and siblings around the planet is part of the passion that you need to ignite to change the world. Yet we are saying you are supported and that you will be victorious and harmonious in this process, despite the chaos that is occurring, as literally there is a cataclysm between two realities occurring on your earth plane. Well, not just two, many, many realities, though we would say that generally you could see this as a general division between those that are in this consciousness of unity and those that are in the egoic consciousness. And what makes the egoic consciousness so fragile, and what you will notice more in the times to come, is that it divides. And so when you are in this consciousness of unity, when you are present and connected in your heart, you can find that you make connection to so many others who have that same programming but in a different language. It does not matter, because the consciousness of unity and service to others and true unconditional love always unites, yet the consciousness of the ego divides. It is simply that most of your planet has been in that consciousness, yet the light, the connection, is overcoming, slowly but surely, and more quick all the time, we must say. You will find that these pockets that choose the egoic consciousness will become much more fragile and more fragile over time, as they will become more and more fragmented, up unto the point that they will notice that they seem to be the only one fighting their fight. That is the point that things will change for them. So we hope that gives you a bit of a clear ability to stay centered on what your purpose is in bringing these changes about. And we would hope to elaborate in any ways that we can to assist you even more in integrating this information and creating that new planet for yourselves. So you may begin with any questions you wish at this time.
My passion is to work with children. I've worked with special ed kids.
Yes.
And gifted children, and I've been told, my friend channels a group of angels, and they've told me about nurturing their souls. So, like, encouraging parents and teachers to work with kids in a way that nurtures their souls,
yes,
rather than what is done in the traditional school system. So I've always been drawn to alternative education, and I was told something about maybe that I would be helping children access their different incarnations and bringing their gifts to this incarnation in the future. So I would love to hear anything you have to say about, like, the evolution of how we work with children and raise children and educate children,
yes,
and also specifically how to bring my passion and gifts, and, what are my gifts that I came to assist with in helping children.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Children will be coming in with a much higher vibration again and again as the energies continue to raise, and the most important thing is really that children are given the freedom to follow their own passion. So this is why we say your passion is your greatest asset and is always the indicator of what you need to learn and share. Now, children have the power to learn much more on their own than they do when they are force-fed certain programs. Children must be allowed to decide which things they would like to study and which things that they would prefer not to, trusting that as the child feels their own desire in every moment, this trial and error sort of freedom will allow them to navigate their own path much easier. And when you have a sort of clear understanding of what this tool of really being and embodying your passion means, you will know and experience that when you encourage children to be in that state of flow, you will open them to be channels as well. Those other talents and gifts that they have from other lifetimes will simply flow through them. You will not need to bring them to remember or access anything, because really when all of you are in a state of flow, those gifts, those understandings, the wisdom that you may channel from other lifetimes is accessed and passed through you without your knowing. So it is about coming into that flow state as individuals and allowing the new generation to find their state of flow much quicker, much earlier on. As now you have the issue of many individuals being trained to follow certain systems and structures and force themselves to act in ways that are out of their own integrity, their own alignment with their spirit. It diminishes everyone's ability to access intuition. So, creating environments in which children can have that freedom, in which they have all of the resources to discover things on their own, to have a balance between work and play, bringing children to have direct experiences, to learn from nature, to learn from travel, to learn from other cultures is another way. Encouraging children to use the resources available to them. As now you live in the times of the internet, you will find that children that at a certain age are encouraged to self-educate will become much smarter than any child in schools. You simply must give them the tools and encourage them to believe in themselves, and the rest will work itself out. And in terms of how you can best bring this out in children, it is really about discovering more of your own inner child, which has never left. This nature to play, this well of innocence that brings about the best in everyone, can be accessed, can be channeled through you. And you can as well find many wounds when you begin to channel your inner child. Fragments of yourself from your own childhood that are calling out for integration. And the more you repair any patchwork from your own childhood and find a stable, solid foundation within your inner child, not relying on your inner child too much and not suppressing it either, you will find that your ability to connect with children is very natural, and there's almost nothing you need to do and educate children other than enjoy the time that you share with them. Can you play with that?
Yes.
All right.
Do you have any recommendations for pathways? Right now, I earn money as a substitute teacher.
All right.
And but I'm wanting to move more into, more direct ways for my passion for children to be engaged with children and outside of the school system. Like, what are some first steps I can take?
Ask around. Put up ads. Have that prayer and spread the word about it. See if there's anyone who needs that sort of childcare, who is open to that.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to tell me about this path that I'm on?
No.
Thank you.
Our thanks to you.
Is there a benefit? I mean, beyond that certain species are leaving and that we're seeing that this is happening and that maybe we're afraid of it. I guess, what is the benefit of such a loss of a cultural history of species and so many millions of years of ancestry? And what will this receding look like? I mean, is it something that will come through human technology after integrating our own psyche with the whole, that we might be able to, instead of artificial intelligence, go ahead and be able to use DNA to reseed things, or will it come from outside?
What we said is that these species have left your plane of Earth, but there are many other planes of Earth, and the boundaries between them are thinning, so species are leaving, but they will simply be able to shift back onto your Earth.
Thank you.
speaking of the multiple planes of Earth, are there different versions of us on every
Yes.
plane? Can you speak more to bridging the planes, maybe via dream or any other way, and contact, and in any way?
Your dream, that will do. Your imagination is even enough to access it, as there are so many infinite versions of every parallel reality of Earth that anything you imagine will be accurate to some degree. So, let us distinguish a bit about how these many layers of reality work. So you could say that there are different timelines within entire unique parallel realities. Yes? So there are sort of clumps, groups, you could say, of parallel reality timelines that look a certain way. Yet, then there are infinite subtle diversions on every single one of those general, bigger frameworks of reality. So, really, reality is that infinite, that you may exist in this one version of Earth, yet we are literally saying that there are infinite versions of this planet and every planet. And the way that you vibrate changes the reality that you experience. Every nanosecond, you are in a different reality entirely.
Question. So there's an understanding that we are moving from a three-dimensional reality into a fifth dimension,
Yes.
and that there's a fourth dimension sort of transitioning that, and that as we move increasingly into fifth dimension, time speeds up,
Yes.
so things happen faster. What does a fifth dimensional human look like? How we would operate, how we would work our humanness, how we would manifest. Is it more from, because now we visualize in order to manifest, but an understanding that maybe to vibrate at a certain, to feel into what something feels like, and maybe manifesting that way as opposed to picturing it? Is that part of the moving to that higher dimension?
Yes.
So how does a fifth dimensional Earth look like?
Well, for one, it is important to clarify that all of these dimensions already exist. And there is this idea that you are moving out of one and into another, yet really you are simply moving your awareness to be able to comprehend your existence within those higher dimensions. So we would describe this fifth dimension as the awareness of the love beyond, the energy that connects all of these many different realities of future, past, this timeline to that timeline, so on and so forth. It allows you to go so far into that field of potentiality that energies outside of your physical present reality can be accessed in every moment within that reality. So the fifth dimensional human in that sense looks just like any other human. It is only that a human working at this fifth dimensional level has the awareness of all of the different realities and the different allies and enemies that inhabit those realities. They are a present moment reality in every moment, and those connections can be drawn from and learned from and used to create better connections in every moment. So, yes, what you are saying about moving towards the feeling state for manifestation is, in a way, related, as the visual component that you conjure is only to allow the mind to direct its focus so that the feeling can manifest. So, say you are picturing yourself having some success that you desire, and the act of focusing your mind long enough allows you to feel the emotion. Now, what makes it work is really the emotion. The intention, of course, is the electric circuit that specifies what to draw forward, yet the emotion is what gives it the magnetic pull of sorts. Though visualization is, of course, a part of how you will access fifth dimensional energies as well. We are just saying that yes, it is a much more powerful way to manifest by emphasizing the feeling. When you can maintain the emotional state that is the equivalent of what you are intending to attract to you, it will come to you much quicker. You cannot have anything that you do not feel you deserve and believe can be yours. Let's put it that way.
The third thing, yes, the last time we talked, we were talking about heart-centered and what it is to be living according to the heart.
Yes.
And I think in a lot of our common awareness, we associate the heart with emotion.
Yes.
With love attraction.
Yes.
And the way you were describing it was more in rhythm, in sync with rhythms and cycles.
Yes.
And I would you elaborate on that, because I'm trying to in some way shift my understanding of heart-centered living to something that's a little more cyclic.
Well, it is not that the heart isn't just about cycles. The love and the attraction is part of the cycle. So, as perhaps your moon orbits your sun, there are certain forces, certain cyclical natures that occur. There's a magnetic draw that causes the cycle to form in a certain way. And this occurs as well with all of the things that you find yourself passionate about. There is a process in which you have that initial impulse that ignites the passion, ignites the love that allows you to take the steps forward. And in taking the steps forward, you always use your mind to some degree, and in channeling energy through your mind, you naturally create manifestations of your belief systems. And then you come to see how your beliefs affect and distort that natural impulse of love, that natural awakening towards spirit within you. And then there is a moment of a sort of cycle of integration in which you come to question the beliefs that created the distortion you picked up upon. And from that next stage in the cycle, where there's a questioning, where there's a release of limiting belief systems, again, the passion comes to life to bring you and draw you forward. So that is one example of how this love, this passion works in cycles. You could say as well within relationships, which are, of course, key in your ability to maintain that state of passion, as really you are not self-aware until the presence of another. Relationships are, in that sense, a real need, and they are as well part of the growth process for all, part of that phase of awakening, or the many phases of awakening. And you may notice within relationships there are periods in which you come closer and then take a step apart and then come closer again. And the tendency has been for all of you to make the cycle of moving away, or even the cycle of forgetting something that you once know, which is another example of this cycle, that you move into your experience of heart knowing, and then the mind again brings you to forget. and you make the stage of forgetting or moving away wrong. So the truest connection to the heart is one that will allow you to not judge what step in that cycle you are in and feel the rhythm of it. Remember the last time that you went through that step in the cycle in whatever relationship it is, whether it is with another, with your own idea, your own project, your own community, and allow yourself to see the bigger picture of the cycle that is occurring. And in this way, you can notice how your heart grows and then expands before seeming to contract a little bit, or even seeming to break open so that it can then again expand. And this breaking is almost like an internal eruption. It seems to make it so that you lose something at first, yet in that opening there is more energy that is exposed that fills you to make your ability to hold an open heart space and use that channel to receive more information and more energy to channel into action. And every step of this cycle, yes, there is a bigger expansion. Yet, in surrendering to, as well, the stage of seeming contraction or seeming closing, not in a way that you want to stay closed, not that sort of surrender, no, but simply an acceptance of it. The process will in turn accelerate. Does that help? Does that answer your question a bit?
It does. Just to elaborate a little bit, so the judgments that are created when we have an opinion about some part of the cycle that we deem good or bad, then what you're saying is like to accept that is another form or a way to drop judgments, and by dropping judgments we come in more into a compassion place.
Yes.
So that's working the duality, integrating it somehow.
Yes.
Okay. And is further, can you say that electing to live in a dualistic world, a 3D world, that friction between polarities, is that a path to awakening compassion? Because you just suffer when you're dealing with dualities, friction and all that, and the only way you can really come to peace is someplace where accepting the duality and that radical acceptance allows you to sink into a unity to some degree?
Well, duality in a way is not just a creation of society, it is an sort of aspect of reality in that there is a positive and a negative charge. There are masculine and feminine energies. There are all of these layers and levels of two. Yet the distortion has been that the one side and the other must be in opposition to each other, when most of the time the experience of the two is part of creation so that self-awareness and creative power can be explored. So there is much hypocrisy in your world. There is much contradiction. And we are not saying to simply give up your power in calling that out or in using your own work to not necessarily go against it, but create the alternative that is much needed. What we are saying is letting go of judgment of self and other. Letting go of the need to make wrong your own process. Understanding that you will always move through these cycles of opening and expanding and closing and contracting, much like you wake up and you sleep. You will go through periods of feeling unified and then feeling separate once again. And, of course, you will want to move towards feeling open rather than feeling separate. Though sometimes you make these cycles occur in much bigger wavelengths that are not as stable. So consider that you can do it very slow and gradual, and you can witness the breadth of each phase of the cycle. Imagine like a sine wave, you could say. There are sine waves that go up and down very quickly, and there are those that move slow and stable and steady. And we would encourage you to be more like the slow and steady one, as if you are in a strong state of resistance to what you are deeming as negative within yourself, you will only perpetuate it, and you will only make that disbalance, that erratic nature, get stronger. And as well, when you are judging that same tendency in another, you will reinforce the pattern in them.
Thank you.
We thank you, yes.
What are the dolphins thinking?
What are they thinking? They're thinking many things. We couldn't translate all of it to you, for they are in a sort of a very different experience. They really enjoy their lives together, and they experience great bliss amongst themselves. They are struggling quite a bit, so they are also sending signals at this higher telepathic level to humans to sort of get their acts together much quicker. Though, otherwise, they are enjoying as much of their experience as they can.
Thank you.
They are also in contact with their soul counterparts in Sirius, and oftentimes they will astral travel back home, so to speak.
Do you think humans should continue to have children, or
Why would you stop
I
having
know, it's
children?
a funny question. Well, just if the Earth is in a decline, I don't know. I almost don't know why. I really think it's important to continue the human race, and then I also don't know why. I don't know. Sometimes I get lost about the point.
The
But-
point?
But I also don't need to think about it too much. But I just felt like asking.
Well,
that.
it would be much better if there were less children in certain places where you are becoming very overpopulated, and there is a tendency for very large families. However, we would say that it is important for you to continue to grow, if you would wish, as a species, and you will also come to leave your planet in groups at some times in the future. Your planet will actually be inhabited by more species in some years, and there are ample planets to support all beings as they evolve and grow and expand in this galaxy. Yes. If your planet gets too crowded, come to ours.
Thanks.
We are joking. But there are other planets. They are not ours. We are not being elitist or anything. You will be better off on those planets, we promise.
Can you tell us why?
They are more suited to your vibration. As our planet is not in the same sort of frequency bandwidth. There are certain phases of evolution. So you can consider the vibration of certain beings in one dimension cannot really match those of another dimension. Because we are in such a higher dimension, the only way that we can communicate with you is through a channel. Now, of course, there are beings like ourselves that can and do show themselves to you in the sky, though that is a different sort of communication. Now, you can meet with beings that are closer to your level of evolution. From our point of transmission, we are closer towards sort of, you could say, immersing ourselves entirely in spirit, becoming less physical. And so our appearance to you might be overwhelming. It would be a bit jarring for humans to be in that sort of vibration.
In the infinite universe, are there versions of your planet and your people that we could visit and see?
Well, you can come and visit us astrally, of course. That is not very difficult. And some of us will greet you after first contact in the years to come. So you may meet us, yes. It does not seem very likely that you'll make it to our planet, though.
Thank you.
We thank you, yes. We are sorry.
Do you have anything to say about the different spirituality followings? Like the different teachings? Because there's some that are so different from each other.
Yes. And they have all evolved to allow people the opportunity to learn through certain cultural experiences, some liberating, some limiting. Though what precisely would you like to know about them?
I don't know. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
Well, we can say that what you describe as religion is one of the densest energy fields on your planet.
I know someone that believes that depending on what religions you follow, you kind of, after you die, kind of go to that planet. I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, really, your belief system creates a planet of its own that you are already experiencing right now as your reality. And as you come to study your dreams and your astral experiences, if you choose to have them, you will see how the things that you choose to believe and the things that you imprint upon your consciousness again and again create a reality of their own. And when you come to witness and see how so much of what you experience as life is simply created through your thoughts, you will find a way to create better feeling thoughts. Now, we do say that when you leave your physical body, there is a sort of grand dream that is the dream of what you believe is going to occur when you die. And because you are truly being born again into spirit, you will see this dream and experience it as a very real dream. In other words, if you believe in hell, you will experience a hell, and it will feel like suffering. Let's say if you believe in hell, you believe that that is what your destiny is. And unfortunately, many people who believe in that believe that they deserve it. Now, they experience it as a great sort of torture, yet they also within that know that it is false, that it is a fabrication, and also simultaneously experience the bliss of spirit. So that is a sort of take on what happens when you die as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do they like move out of that?
Yes.
They're like, oh, this is kind of ridiculous, and then they go
Yes.
to spirit.
Yes.
It's like kind of a period of time, and then they.
It is simply like a purgation of the mind, you could say. you purge that layer of the mind by living entirely its power to create through belief.
So you mentioned beings that showed themselves in the sky.
Yes.
Who were you referring to?
Well, many extraterrestrials that surround your planet and are, in a way, energetically tuning you in, they are transmitting higher vibrations to you that you don't always know that you are receiving, and they are really preparing your world for first contact over time.
Will first contact be met with any sort of chaos on our world?
Not in the areas where there is first contact. When the news of it spreads, it may cause some uproar. Though there is, of course, that continual process of purgation that will occur for each and every one of you. And we encourage you to be passionate about meeting us, as that is what will draw us forward more. Find the information that suits you and keep us in your consciousness, and we will come to meet you in clearer and more vivid ways. And you may notice that in those experiences of contact, that at first you may doubt it, you may be even doubting what is occurring right now, and that is okay. Simply bring awareness to it, validate it as a reality. You may experience fear around it. You may experience concern. You may experience all sorts of things. And those experiences are helping you in releasing the sort of tension of doubt and fear and confusion that may muddle your experience of contact. You must be at a point where you are totally beyond them in order for contact to occur. For if we were to land right now, our energy would overwhelm you. And you must prepare yourselves.
What did you mean yesterday when you talked about abandoned guides?
Abandoned guides? We are not sure. What else were we talking about in this context?
That humans were abandoning their guides.
Oh, well, simply that you may not be listening to your own spirit guides when they are reaching out to you. Which is a very common thing. Any other things you would like to share with us at this time?
Could you expand a little more on the ways that we can prepare ourselves to meet you in clearer, more vivid ways, like you were talking about?
The most important part of it is living your own passion, your own excitement. And that means something different for everyone. It is learning how to line up with the steps, the actions that you can take that expand this feeling of passion within your own heart. When you are in this frequency, you'll know as you will move as if life is a flow state, and you will feel a tangible vibration in your heart building and brewing. When you choose every step of the journey, the direct path to the greatest expansion, you will be in that flow, and you will raise your vibration to such a point that these sorts of telepathic contact will become more commonplace for you. The most important part is in finding your flow of passion, and when you are stable in that flow, telepathic experiences will be more common, and there will be phases of sort of training in that you will receive certain messages, perhaps, and then you will either doubt them or fear the messenger or something of this nature. And through that process, you may learn to trust your intuition and trust the energies that clearly seem to come to you from beyond. Though, first, really, it is about maintaining that flow of following your heart and trusting in your own heart, as that is the point of telepathic contact with any being.
Is there a practice you recommend for really developing a strong relationship with one's heart?
It is in acting on your passion, asking yourself what is the most activating heart activity in this moment. Out of everything I could do, which thing is going to activate my heart the most? Now, one of our colleagues puts it in a very specific way. You follow your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome. That is a very scientific way of putting it. If you do that, you will be in alignment, and the rest will usually work itself out. It doesn't mean that you will not encounter new ideas along the way, though that alone aligns you, and it brings you into a state in which you are feeling your own passion, and in the feeling of it, you create a magnetic field that is designed to attract to you similar feeling people, the components that would add to your vision that is part of that passion. You strengthen your ability to attract when you live in that passion. So that is what we say you do. And that is the most important thing. Now, there are meditations and tools and practices and so on and so forth. And some of you, not all of you, are guided to be intuitive healers who will have certain maps that work with their own belief system and consciousness to generate a healing and create that alignment. And that is very good, though that is one way of doing it. Every person will have their own way of accessing excitement and knowing it. So we can't say that one tool is better than another. Though we can say that having that heart-centered awareness and being aware of how you are feeling in response to what you are doing, knowing how to choose the things that expand that frequency in your heart again and again will make the whole machine work.
Curious, are humans moving towards breatharianism?
Yes.
And what happens when you don't eat with each other? Because that's a whole social element to having meals together.
You are not anywhere close to that as a collective, though you are evolving towards it eventually. So those people who are choosing the path of breatharianism right here and now are showing you what you are potential of, yet it is not really a practical solution or a worthy investment for many people. And really, you will know if this is a path for you, you will feel passionate about it. It is simply that old attitude that sometimes distorts how these things work on your planet that make this seem elusive or better to someone. Really, the clearer you can get in your breath force, the less food you will need, and that will be something that will be very helpful, especially in times when you may need to cleanse, or there may not be ample food supplies for some. This awareness of the power of breath is very great. You will eventually lose the need to eat over hundreds and hundreds of years, and it will take much more for you to get to that point in your evolution. Now, what you can notice about people who are choosing this breatharian path is that they are in many ways needing to choose a life that prevents many actions, that is very isolated. And that is sort of reflective of the kind of life that everyone will be living by the time breatharianism is a more commonplace activity. Now, by that time, there will be many, much more exciting ways for you humans to come together. Though there are many obstacles in the way first. We say eat and enjoy eating. Know that it is a need until you know that it is not. Though that is not to say don't fast. Fast if you feel excited about doing that, but do it responsibly. It is a very powerful tool for healing.
Can you say anything about restoring the health of our oceans, and in particular dealing with some of the nuclear pollution that we have, as so many facilities are located at sea level and are even currently having an effect on our ocean ecology?
Well, as we have said, many species are leaving, so this is true of your ocean as well. And there will come a time when the technology is developed and more technology arrives to clean the oceans through certain microbes and bacteria and different sorts of procedures that will get the water clean again. Though, yes, it will be some time. All right. Well, we thank you all for allowing us to meet you and interact with you in this way. It has been our great pleasure to again co-create with you and support your planet in this transition. Know that we are always here for each and every one of you to open to this contact as well. With that said, we wish you a very pleasant evening, and we will see you in your dream time if you wish. We do have a suggestion for making contact accelerated. Before you go to sleep each night, if you find a star that calls to you and track it in the sky, know that when you observe that star, there is a reaction that takes place. And the light and the consciousness of that star reaches down to you. When you set intention, when you make this routine a way that you set your intention for allowing this contact to occur. As you come to bed, imagine the starlight pouring into your crown, down to your toes, and circulating. Allow this crown and this circuit of energy to continue to open and expand and shine. Notice that maybe this energy forms in a pocket beneath your pillow, in the back of your neck. And take a moment to bring your focus there and picture an image of your intention, perhaps for contact or perhaps for something else that you would like to create in your life, that you can use these intergalactic energies to create, to support. Hold that image and breathe 6 times, fully in, fully out, holding the breath for a few seconds at the top and the bottom while focusing on that image before sleeping. This may be a powerful way to allow yourself to entrain into your intention as you dream, and over time you will develop this practice in ways that suit you better as an individual if you wish. So that is our gift to you before we depart. and we will see you on the other side.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.